You ever start watching an anime and think, wow, this is so cute, I could totally show this to my emotionally fragile cousin, only to be weeping in the fetal position by episode 6? Welcome to Trauma. These are the shows that bait you in with sunshine and sparkles and then hit you with enough emotional damage to file a class action lawsuit. We're talking full-on, starts like Studio Ghibli, ends like Black Mirror. They make you laugh, lull you into a false sense of security, and then, bam, existential dread. You came for comfort, and instead got psychological whiplash. So if you're the kind of person who sees a fluffy mascot character and immediately goes, oh no, they're gonna die horribly, this list is for you. Grab your emotional support plushie, take a deep breath, and let's dive into 10 anime that start wholesome, then absolutely wreck you. Let's get baited. Number 10. Anohana, the flower we saw that day. Alright, let's talk about Anohana, the flower we saw that day, which sounds like it could be a low-stakes slice-of-life anime about gardening, right? Nope, it's about grief. It's about guilt. It's about being emotionally destroyed by a ghost who wears summer dresses and makes you cry in public. At first, you meet this group of childhood friends who used to be super close, like lemonade stand, treehouse building close. But after a tragic accident, they drifted apart like every "we'll be friends forever" lie from the 5th grade. Years later, our main character Jinta is now a depressed recluse who looks like he hasn't slept since the accident. And then, bam, Menma shows up, the ghost of their dead friend, as bubbly and clueless as ever. But she's not here for jump scares. She just wants her friends to grant her one final wish so she can move on. So the gang has to reunite, which sounds wholesome until the emotional trauma starts pouring out of every conversation, like soda from a shaken can. Everyone's carrying guilt, everyone's hurting, everyone cries at least once. You will too. The art? Beautiful. The music? Devastating. The pacing? Rips your heart out slowly, like peeling an emotional band-aid in slow motion. And the ending? Don't even talk to me about the ending. You'll be emotionally unwell for days. You'll hear secret bass and feel a lump in your throat forever. Anohana doesn't just wreck you, it reminds you that healing is messy, grief is complicated, and ghost girls will absolutely ruin your weekend in the best, worst way possible. Up next on number 9, Wonder Egg Priority. Imagine if you took a magical girl anime, cracked it open like, well, an egg, and filled it with trauma, existential horror, and surreal dream monsters shaped like middle school trauma. That's Wonder Egg Priority. The show opens gently. AI is a shy, quirky girl who doesn't go to school and talks to a bug, already giving off "something's not right" energy, but nothing too heavy yet. Then she's given a glowing egg, told to break it in a dream, and out pops another girl who's being hunted by a literal metaphor for her trauma. Yeah, it escalates fast. The visuals are trippy and gorgeous, like a pastel fever dream with deep shadows. But what really hits is the subject matter: bullying, self-harm, suicide, grooming, depression, gender identity, parental neglect. And that's all in the first few episodes. You think you're watching a quirky fantasy with dark undertones, but the undertones become overtones real quick. Each girl is battling literal monsters from their past, all while trying to figure out if saving others will bring back the person they lost, someone they failed to protect. And the answer isn't simple. It's never simple. The show constantly asks, what does it cost to protect someone? And what if it's too late? It's painful. It's messy. And yes, the finale is divisive. But the journey? It's like emotional surgery with a glitter-covered scalpel. Wonder Egg Priority is beautiful, broken, brilliant. And if you finish it without whispering, what the hell just happened to my heart, you might be a dream monster yourself. 8. Clannad or Clannad Afterstory. Okay, let's talk Clannad. And no, I'm not crying. You're crying. We both are. Shut up. When you first start watching Clannad, it feels like every other early 2000s slice-of-life rom-com. Quiet high school boy meets weird but lovable girl. They do quirky stuff like restart the drama club, adopt a robot mascot, and build a sweet circle of friends. You're thinking, alright, this is cute, a little tropey but charming, we're just vibing here. Then comes Afterstory. And Afterstory is like the Grim Reaper looked at your emotions and said, hope you weren't using those. Because this is where Clannad stops playing. Suddenly, they graduate. They get jobs, they fall in love, they have a baby, and then life happens. Real life, the kind with loss, the kind with decisions you can't undo, the kind that reminds you why grown adults cry in the shower. Clannad Afterstory has one of the most painful narrative gut punches in anime history. It's not just sad, it's earned sadness. You grow with these characters. You feel their joy. Their grief becomes yours. There's a scene, and if you've seen it, you know which one, where time just stops. The music fades, and all you're left with is silence and heartbreak. I'm not exaggerating when I say people have taken therapy breaks mid-episode. Mental A, and don't even get me started on the ending. Some people call it a cop-out, others call it hope. I call it, let me sob in peace please. Clannad will lull you in with goofy high school comedy, then blindside you with generational trauma and a dango song that now hurts to hear. If you want an anime that makes you feel everything, start here. And bring tissue, lots of them. On number 7, Made in Abyss. You ever see a show and think, wow, this looks like it could be a wholesome Ghibli-style fantasy with a bit of adventure, and then immediately regret your optimism? That's Made in Abyss. It's not a show. It's a trap, a gorgeously animated, hauntingly scored, emotionally devastating trap. We start with Riko, a cheerful little girl who dreams of exploring the abyss, a massive, mysterious pit full of ancient relics, adorable monsters, and supposedly her long-lost mother. She meets a robot boy named Reg, who's part cute sidekick, part death laser. Together, they set out to descend into the abyss, and at first, it's whimsical, quirky side characters, dangerous but cool wildlife. Riko is so plucky, so determined. You're rooting for her. Then you realize, Made in Abyss doesn't care about your feelings. It feeds on them. The deeper you go, the darker it gets. And I'm not talking spooky lighting. I mean moral collapse and psychological horror. The Abyss has curse zones, and with every layer you lose more of your humanity, literally and emotionally. And yet, these children keep going. Episode 10? That's not an episode. That's a war crime against your emotions. There's crying, there's screaming, there's things you can never unsee. The art? Ethereal. The music? Devastating. Kevin Penkin's soundtrack will emotionally drag you into the pit even if you're not watching the episode. Just hearing the flute means you're about to get wrecked. By the end, you'll be asking yourself two things. Why did I watch this? And when does season 2 come out because I hate myself and need more? Made in Abyss is the happiest nightmare you'll ever love. On number 6 we have Puella Magi Madoka Magica. You think you know magical girl anime. You've seen the tropes. Bright colors, cute mascots, sparkly transformations, friendship speeches that somehow stop intergalactic wars. And then Madoka Magica shows up like, what if all of that but actually a cosmic horror story with a death toll? We start with Madoka, a sweet, slightly clueless girl living a normal life. Then she meets Kyuubi, a tiny talking cat thing with soulless eyes and an offer. Become a magical girl. I'll grant you a wish. You'll fight witches and look fabulous doing it. Sounds great, right? Carber. Bore. Wrong. That's the last moment anything in this show will ever be okay. Kare? By episode 3, it goes from Sailor Moon to Requiem for a Dream. The magical girls are being lied to. Their powers? Fueled by despair. Their souls? Literally removed from their bodies. Oh, and the witches they fight? Yeah, those are failed magical girls who fell into madness and died. And Kyuubi, he's not a cute mascot. He's an emotionless alien harvesting teenage anguish to prevent the heat death of the universe. Which, like, okay, that's a goal. But, sir, there has to be a less traumatizing way. This show is stylish, heartbreaking, philosophical, and terrifying. The animation gets glitchy and surreal when witches are involved. Like collages from your worst dream, the music is haunting. The stakes are soul-level devastating. And then comes Homura. Time loops, rewrites, a girl who remembers every single failed version of reality and keeps fighting alone. It's not just sad, it's cosmic dread, wrapped in pink ribbon. Madoka Magica is what happens when you hand the magical girl genre to someone who said, let's see how far we can push human suffering before someone snaps. And you'll watch every minute, cause it's that damn good. Number 5, Your Lie in April. Okay, you wanna know pain wrapped in pastel visuals and classical music? Let's talk about Your Lie in April, aka the anime that made millions of viewers cry over a violin solo. It begins gently. Kusei Arima, once a child piano prodigy, now can't even hear his own playing. Not because he's physically broken, but emotionally. His mom, who trained him to the point of trauma, has passed. And now the music that used to give him joy just echoes in silence. Then enters Kaori Miyazono, violinist, chaos incarnate, and the living embodiment of sunlight in anime girl form. She crashes into his life like a rainbow-colored tornado and says, hey, you're gonna feel something again, whether you like it or not. And suddenly, the show blossoms. They play together, they argue, they grow. And for the first time, Kusei starts coming back to life. He hears music again, he finds purpose. You smile, you root for them. You think, maybe this is a redemption arc. But Your Lie in April has one goal, to shatter your soul. Because as Kaori brings Kusei back into the light, she's quietly slipping into the dark. Her illness looms, her cheerful facade cracks, and by the time the truth hits, the lie in April, you're not crying, you're sobbing. The animation, glorious. Light and color swirl with emotion. The performances feel like battles. You'll find yourself gripping the armrest during a piano recital like it's a boxing match. True, the themes, grief, growth, letting go. The show doesn't hold your hand, it holds your heart, then lets go when it hurts the most. And the final episode? It's not just an ending, it's a goodbye letter. To childhood, to music, to love. You will sit in silence afterward, ruined and grateful. Happy? Your Lie in April is a love story, not just between people, but between art and healing, and loss, and living anyway. Number 4. A silent voice. From the moment a silent voice begins, you can tell it's different. Quiet, subtle. It doesn't yell its sadness, it whispers it. You meet Shoya, a kid who used to be loud, cocky, and, let's be honest, kind of a jerk. When a deaf girl named Shoko transfers into his class, he leads the bullying like it's a sport. Laughs are had, notes are thrown, hearing aids are destroyed. Disabir. Then everything changes, because the bullying doesn't go unnoticed, and Shoya becomes the target. His friends abandon him, his life spirals, and suddenly, the boy who made someone feel invisible becomes invisible himself. Fast forward a few years, Shoya is a teenager now, isolated, anxious, riddled with guilt. He sees the world through a wall of X's, literally covering every face he passes, and then he runs into Shoko again and decides he needs to make it right. That's the premise. But what a silent voice actually delivers is a raw, powerful meditation on forgiveness, on redemption, on what it means to live with your mistakes instead of pretending they didn't happen. Shalama, there's no big explosion, no final boss, just awkward conversations, stumbles, vulnerability, and the quiet bravery of facing someone you hurt and someone who hurt you. The animation by Kyoto Animation is soft and detailed, but the emotions hit hard. There are scenes of silence so heavy you forget you're breathing. And then suddenly someone says something kind or cruel, and you break. And that final sequence, the one with the music swelling and the crowd and the X's finally falling, it's not a twist. It's healing, and it hits harder than any plot twist ever could. A silent voice isn't just a movie, it's a mirror, one that asks, who were you, and who are you trying to be now? And you'll leave it a little quieter, and maybe a little better. On number 3 we have Erase. Erase starts like a slow burn mystery. Satoru, 29, is a pizza delivery guy, an aspiring manga artist who's just coasting, kinda stuck in life, until suddenly, bam, time rewind. He has this weird power called revival, where time jumps back just a few minutes before something bad happens. It's usually minor stuff, saving a kid from getting hit by a truck, catching a falling object. Hero stuff, but in small doses, until the day he's framed for murder, and time jumps back 18 years. Suddenly, he's 10 years old again, living in his old hometown, in his old body, surrounded by old memory. And he realizes if he wants to stop the murder in the present, he has to solve a much older case. The mysterious disappearance of one of his childhood classmates, Keo. At first there's nostalgia, cozy moments, Satoru reconnecting with his mother, his friends, his younger self. You think, oh wow, this is gonna be a nice little redemption arc. Then the darkness creeps in, because Erase It isn't just about murder, it's about abuse, about neglect, about the horrifying things children can endure, and the adults who choose not to see. The villain? Chilling, calculated, the kind of evil that hides in plain sight. You'll find yourself screaming at the screen, desperate for someone to just listen to this poor, traumatized kid. And as Satoru struggles to navigate his double life, a child with an adult's mind and a mission no one believes, you feel the weight of his urgency. Every scene is dripping with dread. Every choice matters. Namaste Bals. The music? Subtle, haunting. The visuals? Simple but effective. The pacing? Grabs you and never lets go. By the time the ending hits, you'll be so emotionally invested that even a single line of dialogue will hit like a freight train. Erased isn't just about changing the past, it's about saving innocence, and sometimes saving yourself. Up next, number 2, Wolf Children. You know that quiet kind of heartbreak? The kind that builds slowly over time and then just sits with you years later? That's Wolf Children in a nutshell. Jun, it begins like a fairy tale. Hana, a kind and determined college student, falls in love with a mysterious man. Turns out, he's part wolf. Not metaphorically, like actually a wolf, but it's still beautiful. Intimate, quietly magical. They build a life together, have 2 children, Yuki and Ame, who inherit their dad's wolf side. And for a while, things are warm, wholesome, dreamy even. Then tragedy strikes, and Hana is left to raise 2 wolf children completely alone. What follows is not a fantasy adventure. It's a story about motherhood, about sacrifice, about raising kids who don't fit in, who don't know if they belong in the wild or with people. It's about adapting, protecting, and slowly, painfully learning to let go. Every scene is tender. A snow day, a scraped knee, a kid growling in a classroom because he's literally part wolf. There's beauty in the mundane, and grief in the small moments. The animation? Gorgeous. Rolling fields, rainstorms, light bouncing off windows. It's like watching poetry move. The soundtrack? Gentle piano and strings that never overpower, only enhance. Yi Wei-ya. What makes it soul-crushing is how real it feels. There's no big villain, no dramatic betrayal. Just a mom doing her best in a world that doesn't understand her children and watching them grow into something she can't follow. And that last scene? When Hana looks out and realizes she did everything she could, it wrecks you because it's not just sad, it's earned. Wolf children will hurt you, quietly, kindly. And then you'll call your mom, or maybe just sit in silence and thank the wind for being gentle today. Finally, on number 1 we have The Promised Neverland, Season 1. Imagine this. A cozy orphanage tucked away in the woods, kids laughing, playing tag, eating hearty meals. Their mom, Isabella, is warm and caring, and the kids seem genuinely happy. Then you hit episode 1's ending, and your soul exits your body, because The Promised Neverland is not about cute orphan, it's about livestock. That's right, the kids are being raised to be fed to demons, like gourmet farm-to-table horror show levels of dark. And the worst part? They're smart. The main trio, Emma, Norman, and Ray, are not your average anime kid. They're playing 4D chess with their own lives, smiling in front of mom while planning an escape from a literal child harvesting operation. What follows is a psychological cat-and-mouse thriller with no magic powers, no weapon, just wit, trust, and pure survival instinct. Emma? Pure heart with the tactical brain. Norman? The nicest genius you'll ever cry over. Ray? The brooding intellectual with secrets that could ruin everything. Together, they lead a prison break that feels more intense than any shonen fight scene, may I say. And Isabella? Oh my god. She's terrifying. She smiles like a villain in a Studio Ghibli film, but behind that smile is absolute control. She knows everything, sees everything, and still lets the kids think they're winning. The setting is minimal, one big house and a forest, but the tension? It's unbearable. Every door could be a trap, every smile could be a lie. The pacing is masterful. You'll be sweating from sheer suspense. And that ending, that run, is the most emotionally satisfying, goosebump-inducing moment in psychological anime history. The Promised Neverland Season 1 is not just an anime, it's a thrill ride that starts like a lullaby and ends like a siren. Just don't talk about Season 2. We don't go there. Season 1 is the only canon here. And there you have it. 10 anime that start like hugs and end like sucker punches from the universe. These shows bait you with pastel vibes, soft piano music, and adorable character design. And then they kick open the door and scream, trauma time! If you're new to anime and you just finished your first rom-com thinking, I'm emotionally prepared now. No, you're not. These shows will humble you, they will break you, and you'll thank them for it. So what did we miss? Which anime emotionally obliterated you after a deceptively soft start? Drop it in the comments. Share the pain. Misery loves anime company. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and prepare your tear ducts for our next soul-crushing list. Until then, stay hydrated. Hug your plushies, and remember, just because it's cute doesn't mean it's safe. See you, space emotionally devastated cowboy.